Dreamweaver on the left, Preview on the right. And just to save a little bit of time, I have the normalize in there already. And I have a section for the style tags here. I probably would do it external, but for this case, it's just quicker to do it this way. So body tag, hello, and let's dive in. So when I'm thinking about a column, the first thing that I'm going to try and do is kind of isolate a row across the page. And so I'm going to create a div with a class, and we'll call it row. And a lot of the times in here, I'll put words in here just so I can kind of see that I'm putting it in there correctly. I'm looking for any red marks here, but I still got green. Obviously, not hard to have anything there, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's do 5 columns real quick. So we'll create our first column in here, and I figure that all 5 of them are going to have something pretty similar. So I'm just going to create a class called column and put that in there 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now I look over here and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a row at the bottom. So I think I've kind of got that structure pretty decent. So at this point, I take out row because I feel good about that so far. So the next thing is I kind of like to know what am I dealing with here. So let's come up here and we'll go row, and then we'll also add one in here for column. But one of the things I like to do nowadays, because I work mobile first, is I literally came over here in a little shortcut. I searched up mobile first media queries, and W3 Schools was the first response. I trust them. I know that their information is good. So looking in here, always designed for mobile first. So realistically, here's kind of the mobile first stuff, and then here's my media query. So I'm going to grab this, and bear with me, I'm going to get rid of the extra stuff real quick. So when I look at this code, I'm going to edit, apply source formatting, so it's a little more cleaned up. So I know I have a row and I have a column, and this is what's going to happen on mobile. And then this is down here what's going to happen on the desktop. Or I shouldn't say desktop. Anything bigger than 768. So let's go ahead and work on the desktop version. So row and column are in here. I don't think I need this, but I do go ahead and, well, rather than wondering, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say background color gray. And okay. What I just looked at here is I'm like, okay, the gray is going the full width. So I was wondering to myself, do I need to put width 100 in there? And the answer is, I may not. So rather than jump to that conclusion right away, I know that these are going all the way. So this is where we're going to start to math a little bit. We're going to have 5 columns that are going to fill up 100% of the page. That means each of the columns are going to need to be a width of 20%. And let's save it. There's no change yet. So as I build this out, let's give it each of these a border of 1 pixel, black, solid. Because now I kind of can see what's going on here. And, oh, okay, I've got all of those. I forgot something. I forgot our float. So we'll come in, we'll add a float. And we'll say to the left. And now, instantly, I've got 4 columns, the 5th one coming down to the next line, which is what I kind of expect. The reason that it's this is we have 20% plus 20% plus 20% plus 20%. So we have 100% plus 1 pixel, 2 pixels, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these columns are 100% and 10 pixels wide. So if I get rid of this border, you can see that now without the border, they are all on one line. So now that we have that in there, I mean, at its core, we kind of have our columns on there. But let's come in here and say we want to treat each of these columns a little bit differently. So I want to have a little more control over them. So I will put a second class on each of these. So now I have a way to control all of them at once by using the dot call. And I can control one at a time by using dot call. And in this one, I'll say 3. And we'll give it a background color of beige. It probably doesn't show up enough for you guys. Background color of blue violet. So it very clearly stands out. So we've kind of got this there, but the next thing that's probably going to happen is if you have a whole bunch of text and or Epson in 2 columns, they're going to end up having a whole bunch of text next to each other, which we're not going to want. So I put some text in column 3 and 4, or excuse me, 2 and 3. And you can see that obviously we aren't going to want these touching like that. Let's say if it was text that was in there. So I could come in and start to control the padding and margin on each of these individually, but I think we'll probably have a base where we'll have a starting point for all of them, so it's the same. So in here, let's get rid of border now that we're not using it. Let's add a little bit of padding, and I always do padding and margins with the 4 numbers. I know some of you have used it and some of you have not. So it goes clockwise, top, right, bottom, left. I say that all the time, like a clock, top, right, bottom, left. So I'll say it out loud. I'm going to use 10 pixels for the top. On the right, I'm going to say 2%. On the bottom, we'll do 10 pixels. And on the left, we'll do 2%. Now, you can start to see that we got some problems over here with column number 5. And it's because we are now at more than 100%. We are at 100% plus 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Wow. Yeah, I guess that's pretty high. But yeah, so it's 120% wide. So we need to start to change the width of each of the columns. So if this is 4%, let's just drop this down to 16%. And now we're back to it equaling 100% wide. So we got our margins. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So the next thing I wanted to try and quickly add to this is when this goes down to mobile, you can see that it just gets all wacky. Because really, the mobile styling, my indents are really bad. The mobile styling isn't in there at all. So let's apply source formatted. So we need above here, because this is everything larger than 768, to now go back and add styles for our row and columns. So we'll put row in there. I'm not going to do anything with it yet. And we'll put column in there. And let's go ahead and say, well, we're kind of lucky because it does seem to be defaulting to 100%. But for my kind of mental take on it, I'm going to kind of copy what we have here, but I'm going to change some of these numbers. So I'll save this. So this is, let me make it smaller so that it's very clearly that it's mobile. I want this, let's just go 100% for a second. And our padding here is the same, so we were actually at 104%. So if I switch this, if you see down here at the bottom of the page, you'll see a slight horizontal scroll, and we don't want that. So we will change this to 96%. And now you can see that we have our first column. This is our second column. Third column doesn't have anything in it right now. Did I accidentally delete it? No. Okay, this is 2 right here. And this is 3 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's make it bigger just to see if it switches. And there it is. So at mobile, it's 1 column. At larger than 768, we are at 5 columns. Now, granted, I can see some tweaking that would probably need to be done with more padding. And if you do decide to have margin instead of padding so that they don't, the boxes don't come up against each other, you still have to make sure that it ultimately adds up to 100%. So if you have 4% on margin, 4% on padding for each row, that's 8% you would have to take off for each. So that, in a nutshell, is column